What does it cost a game to do crossovers? Because obviously, crossovers are cool. Seeing your favorite characters show up in another game is exciting. Mortal Kombat adding Omni-Man. Sick. Helldivers getting a Warhammer crossover. Honestly, I'm pretty hype. Even a game like Fortnite, where it feels like most of the roster is crossovers at this point, is still fun because it's absurd. But then take something like Call of Duty, for example. I'm sorry, I know the franchise has never been ultra-realistic, but the second I see Nicki Minaj, an Attack on Titan skin, and honest-to-God Skeletor bunny hopping around the map, something completely breaks. The game stops feeling like a military shooter and starts feeling like a content playlist. And the weird part is, the gameplay itself can be unaffected, but the issue isn't gameplay, it's identity. Because games don't just have mechanics, they have a tone, a feeling, a specific kind of world they're trying to create. And every crossover changes that tone a little bit. Mortal Kombat is a good example of this too. The guest characters are awesome individually. Seriously, Omni-Man and Homelander, I think, are really cool. But older Mortal Kombats felt like its own weird, supernatural martial arts universe. Now half of the roster feels like a Comic-Con lineup. The gameplay may be the same, but the way that you look at these games once these characters are added just isn't. A much more interesting example to me personally is Monster Hunter Wilds, because I actually play that game, whereas I only really dabble in like Mortal Kombat. The Akuma crossover is really fun. It's also a little bit clunky, but beating monsters to death using Street Fighter inputs and techniques was awesome. But it also creates this weird disconnect where somebody's first Monster Hunter experience with another player could genuinely just be Akuma flying in and uppercutting a dragon. And that will absolutely change how they see the game going forward. Now, to be fair, Monster Hunter is goofy enough that it can survive this way better than something like Call of Duty. The series already has cat chefs, ridiculous weapons, and over-the-top armor sets, so the tone already had some chaos built in. But it still pays that hidden cost. It shifts the tone of the world. If you want two games that I think encapsulate what I mean by the identity being lost, I would say there are no better examples than Overwatch and Rainbow Six Siege. And COD, but I already mentioned that. Overwatch had such an intentionally crafted design to it. Every skin that a character got would even have its own little background or lore snippet, or it was at the very least in some way related to that character's backstory. And then they started doing collabs. And now you can have All Might Reinhardt and Deku Tracer, and I promise you, if you load into a game and you see these skins blinking around, you instantly feel like you're playing something different than OG Overwatch. Siege, I would say, suffers from this even more, because this is a game that was sold on its realism, at least at first, and now if you try to boot up into a game, you might just be playing against Master Chief. When companies lean into crossovers, it almost feels to me like they're replacing lore and cohesive storytelling with spectacle. Because players don't experience games through lore documents, they experience them through what they see. When I load into a match and I see a cowboy fighting a K-pop idol while Superman shoots lasers in the background, I stop treating that world so seriously, even subconsciously. And I think that's actually why Fortnite avoids a lot of this criticism, because Fortnite already gave up tonal consistency years ago. Crossovers are the identity now. The whole game is basically digital action figures smashing into each other. But games that originally built themselves around immersion or world building slowly lose something every time they lean harder into crossover content. And I'm not even sure developers fully realize how permanent that shift can be. Because once players stop seeing your game as a world, and start seeing it as a platform for collaborations, it's really hard to go back. To answer the question I posed at the very start of the video, what does it cost a game to do crossovers? It costs that game its own unique identity. Thank you all very much for watching. I wanted to make a little bit more of a status quo type video where I just analyzed a design philosophy or a design thing, because my last couple of videos have been a little bit more opinionated and, like to mix it up a bit. One thing that actually sparked this was the Warhammer collab that was announced for Helldivers 2. As someone who likes both franchises, I am excited for it, but it's also Arrowhead, so I'm not expecting too much. I'm going to keep my expectations a little low, and if it's awesome, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. But as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. I know that you've heard this before, but it genuinely helps me out a lot. And, that's all for now. See ya. Shit, that's not my outro. And until next time, see ya.